right, so we're just going to start it off. I'll start with you, Miss Now Lady. All right, so tell us how you got your start and what you do.
So as of March 1st, I'll be the Director of Diversity and Inclusion. Right now, I've been running programs for Universal Music for the last 7-8 months. I got my start in Atlanta, went to Spelman.
HBCUs.
Yes. And I interned for Michael Malden. He's Jermaine Dupri's father. And at the time, he managed all the artists on So Def. So like The Brat, Bow Wow, them Franchise Boys. And he also had Atlanta Worldwide touring. So I interned there my senior year. And it was just like my intro into like artist management, live events. And then I went to work in corporate finance in New York, and I was like, oh, this isn't it. I really want to go there. So what that was, it was a whole different vibe. I lived in New York for a couple years, and I came to LA to go to business school to basically re-enter the industry. I basically started over in industry, new function, studied entertainment marketing at USC, and I used that as my way to get in the entertainment industry as a student again.
Okay.
So I started at the Grammys and Grammy U in LA chapter.
Okay, there you go. It didn't take you much to reinvent yourself, huh?
Not at all. I'm like, you can do that and keep evolving. That's how you keep your longevity in the industry too.
There you go. All right. And then Drew, how'd you get your start?
So I got my start my junior year of college at Central Connecticut State University. Although I did start off at Alabama State University.
Let's go. Okay. Did you go to Alabama State?
No. It's like we cousins now.
But my family's from Montgomery and Georgiana, so
Okay.
Alabama State's our family alma mater. But no, so my junior year at Central, I was that cat on campus that I knew I wanted to be in the music business. That I idolized Dame and Puff and cats like that, and I was promoting and on the college radio station and doing events through SGA and stuff like that. So I always wanted to be on the business side, and I just went online and applied to a summer internship at BET, and the other one was at Universal Motown. This when Motown was at Universal Music. And lo and behold, out of 150 people, the marketing director, Tasha Fox, chose me. I thought I wasn't going to get it. I showed up in a full suit.
Yes.
I had my binder of everything I did on campus and all my marketing case studies from classes. And it was a joke because everyone that saw me, that was like, oh, you're here for an interview. I was like, oh yeah, and after a while I realized, oh, it's a joke because I'm the only person in the building right now in a suit. And I was like, oh man, I'm a herb, I'm not getting this. And lo and behold, she just told me, she's like, yeah, you didn't need to have on a suit, but you're the only person that came in as a professional, and you brought case studies in your work, and so I kind of knew what you had an idea, and it worked. And so, granted, I was still in school during the summer and kept working at the label throughout the school year. So my junior and senior year, just pretty much traveling 3 hours each way, there and back, and pretty much paying for it because this was back in the day when interns, especially the music side, weren't paid. I don't know if they're paid now. I know the ABC side we pay. But more so just paying $300 a month just to work there, and I just grinded until it paid off, and it became a longer story and journey that brought me out here to LA on the agency side.
There we go. DJ Artistic.
Okay, so for me, similar to the producers, my dad was a jazz drummer and he was a drummer in church. So I actually used to be a producer before I was DJing. So I was making beats when I was 10 years old. I used to rap as well when I was a kid. So
let's hear a bar.
Nope, none of that. Can't do it. But yeah, I used to actually rap way back in the day, and then I didn't start DJing until college. So I went to Florida A&M, so HBCUs in here, of course. Yeah, we represent. So basically, it was because I was from LA and being in Florida, it was where, how it is, coming from certain places, you only hear that local music. So in Florida, you heard all this stuff from down south. That was like the mid-2000s. You heard all the snap music, you heard the Boozy, you heard the Jeezy, T.I. Right. You didn't hear too much LA stuff, not too much hyphy. So for us, I was just doing house parties just for my California people from the LA, from the Bay. I was just doing it from a Windows Media playlist before I even had a Mac. It was Windows XP or something like that. So, yeah, LimeWire. I had viruses. The viruses on my laptop and all that. So that's way back. So I was just doing playlists. I was just doing that. So we would have a house party with maybe 30 people. Of course, the word gets out. So the next party is 60 people. But then there's people from the South, Louisiana, from Philly, from everywhere coming through. And it's like, all right, you play this West Coast, we play our music too. At first, I'm like, this is our party. Like, I ain't playing your music. But it was like, we had to. They had the club for their music, but it was like, okay, we do have friends from everywhere. I have friends from every city. So it was like, let me just start learning everybody's music. So it went from that to, I had an internship. I majored in computer science. So basically, I had a direct TV internship doing programming. And with that, I took my entire internship check and bought DJ equipment. And I said, either it's going to be the best investment I made in my life or the worst. And it paid off. So basically, I took that money. I spent all that money. So I had like $80 left. So I said, I have to make some money back. I went on Facebook, started hitting people up. Like, if you need a DJ for whatever program you have, for anything, I'll do it for $40, $50, crackhead prices basically, but that's what it was back then, so
Come on.
that's how I got started.
You really wanted it, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right, Catherine?
So I originally started off as a flute player. I had been playing flute since I was a little girl. Saw it on Sesame Street, begged my parents to start taking lessons. And I eventually went to high school at the Baltimore School for the Arts in Baltimore. When I was getting towards the end of my time of like high school and figuring out college, I was like, I don't really think I want to be like a classical flute player as a career. Don't really want to play a whole bunch of music by a bunch of like dead white guys. Like, not really what I want to do.
I am dead.
There's other great classical music too, which I learned in college. Great segue. In college, where I went to University of Maryland, studied flute still, but also started to get involved with stuff behind the scenes. So we have a really great performing arts center. I worked there, interned, like with the cultural department there, where you're just kind of like booking different things that are in the community, and got involved with Grammy U, which is a really great program that the lady had mentioned earlier. And that's when I was just like, okay, I want to do like behind the scene things. And eventually, about a year after I moved, or a year after I finished college, I moved out here to LA, worked at a talent agency that did not really work out for me. I got fired after 6 weeks, and I just had to pivot. And anything that I had like ever been interested in the music industry, I was like either doing like temp gigs to do that or interning. I basically had to start over at like 24, which was a little scary in a new city, to figure out like what I was going to do to make money and still kind of like fulfill this passion to be in the music industry. And so my current role, I'm an account executive at AG Presents. I work specifically on sponsorships and partnerships for music festivals, and that job is really like a culmination of everything I've probably ever done so far in the industry, which is really great. So,
there you go.
yeah, I found like it worked itself out for me, which I'm like very fortunate that it did.
All right, powerful Catherine.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. All right, and Brian?
Yeah, similar to the last panel. I got in music early on in church. You know, you're a kid, you don't have a choice. It's, you are going to do this, period. And I was in the choir, but I enjoyed it, man. It was fun. I love singing, and then they got me in different choirs around the city. One thing I didn't mention in the earlier panel was I was one of those kids where it was, you watch so much TV that your parents are like, you watch too much TV, so we got to make you do other stuff. And it's fine, but I would still always watch TV. Comes into play later. I ended up going to college. I went to Howard University, DC. Let's go. The real one. I got into it with somebody from Hampton
you gotta
earlier,
relax.
man. Like,
We already shouted out HBCU.
It's a trigger.
Relax.
Man. It's a trigger. But I went to school actually for vocal performance with jazz studies. You know, up there singing the whole time. And while I was up there, I ended up interning for a label called Hidden Beach Recordings. You guys might know him. With Jill Scott, biggest artist, as well as Unwrap, Mike Phillips, a couple others. But also while I was there, that's when I first got introduced to the Grammys. I ended up interning for the DC chapter, and as Catherine mentioned, their Grammy U program. I was actually the first rep for the DC chapter, so that's what's up. We know each other because our boss connected us. Super long story short, after that, I ended up going to school down in Florida, Full Sail. One of the guys who was up here mentioned that he went to Full Sail. That's why I made some noise for that. But yeah. I was down there for a while learning recording arts because I said I don't want to do just the performance side. I want to learn the studio. I want to learn how to speak music from a different standpoint. How do you connect it? Because I can go on stage and scream sharps and flats, but if I'm in the studio talking to an engineer, if I don't know how to get on the same page with them, it's going to be a long day. Moved out here in '08 after I finished down there, and when I first moved out here, I ended up interning at the company Murray Productions. You guys will probably know them from, I always used to say, oh, Real World Bad Girls Club Kardashians. Now I think it's Kardashians and then Bad Girls Club and Project Runway. I know the show's been on for like 80 years. But but the reason I mention the TV part is because I would watch so much TV, I would understand the sound. And what that means is understanding like why they would make certain decisions. Eventually you watch it so much, I, to this day, can remember some commercials that I would watch as a kid because there's something about music that triggers something in memory. Like I can hear some songs, like I remember this old Crossfire commercial that came on when I was, in like the 4th grade or something because I wanted that, but that stood out to me, you know what I mean? So that eventually led to me getting into music supervision, which is what I did at Murray Productions. Fast forward, now I currently work at Disney as a music supervisor for our in-house trailer team called The Hive. And you guys probably have seen some of our trailers. We work on everything from Kingsman, which I think was our most recent project, Kingsman 3, aka The King's Man. We did Avengers, Star Wars, you name it, anything that comes to the studio. We didn't necessarily finish it, but we definitely probably had a hand on it. And also, I gotta give a quick shout out, but before, early on when I got out here, one of my teachers from college calls me and says, hey, we're thinking about going on this TV show, do you want to go? I was like, all right, cool, I'm already out here, so this works out. The show ended up being the sing-off. Our group ended up performing. I was in a group called Afro Blue. And funny enough, one of the other guys who was on the show is here right now in the audience. That's what's up. He sent us home. So, yeah.
Hey, where's he at? Where you at?
What's up, Mike? Good to see you, man.
Can you give us a wave?
Yeah. Oh, a little brief wave.
Right.
Cool, man. From church, we call people loud, bro. That's my guy, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, so fortunately, I was able to marry my love of music with my love of TV and film. And, I get to listen to music all day and hopefully find music to fit in our different projects. So.
There you go. Well, Brian, you stay right here. Tell us about one of your hardest moments that you had to climb over during this journey.
Ooh, man. DJ Artistic is from LA. You don't run into a lot of people in the industry, I feel like, that are from LA because there's so many transplants. We talk about that all the time, which is why I appreciate that story. When you are from a different city, there's something in you that secretly says, you probably don't want to go back there. Meaning, and hear me when I was, don't Fox News me and take that quote. It's a thing, it's a camera. That means that when you move to a place like LA, you know that you have to work so hard because you know what's at home. And granted, home is great, but home is comfortable.
Yeah.
And you don't want comfortable. When I first moved out here, I know that was a thing. I met Catherine early on. Matter of fact, I met the lady as well early on, right? When I moved out here, it was like, okay, cool. I know what I want to do. How do I get there? I don't know. Let's see. And there were moments where it was like, man, what are we going to do? And you don't want to be the person that says, and if this don't work out in 3 months, in 6 months, because what if that month after you move, whatever it was, happens? You know what I mean? So I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that a lot of people that aren't from LA are faced with. Is you get out here, it's super competitive, things don't go as you want them to, and then you have to ask yourself, how do I overcome that? And I know my biggest thing was just having a good support system and having people around me that were encouraging, that pushed me forward and said, keep doing what you're doing. I found a good church, that was real cool. And I know that definitely played a big part of it, because that's how I grew up. So you have to find what it is to dig deep, because there will be challenges, there will be obstacles, and you have to just find a way to push through that.
All right, well said. Catherine, I know you mentioned a little bit on the youth panel. Can you talk about that now?
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely think even now, some like 8.5 years later, the biggest challenge that I've faced was getting fired basically for an opportunity that I had moved out here for originally. So I came out to LA, I think I just turned like 23 or 24, so I was definitely just like, all right, this is it, like I did it, like I'm gonna come out here, I'm gonna kill it, I'm gonna do so well. And I don't wanna say like I choked, but I just think that like the environment that I was in wasn't the right environment for me. So I got fired, and that was like one of those things where like my pride just hit where I'm like, all right, I'm a failure, I suck, I came out here to do this thing and I got fired, but I also was like, I don't wanna go home. Like, definitely, like, my parents wanted me to come home. My dad was like, I didn't get your job with the state. And I was like, no. Definitely don't want to go do that. Definitely am not trying to go, like, work for the state for the rest of forever.
Shout out to the state.
Yeah. Shout out to the state, though. Definitely shout out to the state. My dad still works for the state.
Benefits.
Right. We gotta stop playing. We talking about the state now.
Exactly, but that was not like what I was wanting to do. So I really think that like my pride was part of the reason that I just like pushed through and stayed out here. And then another thing too was just like my network. So I know like Brian and the lady both kind of like have mentioned that we've known each other for a while. I had a boss when I was over in DC and that was doing things like Grammy U and everything that when I told her I was going to move out here, she was like, here are some people for you to reach out to. Just like gave me a list. Brian and the lady were both on that list, and we're still friends to this day. So I'm also just very, very grateful for like having built a community here that's made me feel like I have a home here. Because that at the end of the day, regardless of like what will happen in my career or what I choose to do, I know that like I have a community here and I've found like a home here, and that's what is most important for me, I think.
You know, it's funny, like we live in like a generation or a society where everyone's always like, I'm quick to cut off somebody, like cut off this, cut off that. Like I know it gets on my nerves when people can't maintain a relationship, you know, because relationships are almost everything in whatever you do in life. So I just want to go back, Catherine, I'm making a point off of your point, because you're saying like you built this community and they helped you basically persevere and push through during that whole time. What do you think would have happened to you if you didn't have them as your friends, that you couldn't look left and right?
I mean, I think I would have either went home or just like stayed in a really bad place in terms of like just mentally like beating myself up over what I thought was like, okay, this is my one opportunity to do everything that I've like ever wanted to do in the 20-something years of existing.
Right.
And like it didn't work out for me, so that's it and that's over. Like I would have just like given up, honestly. So
they were an important part.
Yeah, for sure.
There you go. All right, DJ Artistic.
Okay, so for me, I would say it was two things. So the main obstacle I had, so for those who don't know, the lady's actually my manager. She's been managing me for
Oh, hey!
We all connected basically. So it's been almost 6 years, and you know, 60 years in the industry is like 24 years, so it's like a lifetime already. Right? Yeah, so with that, basically, the initial obstacle I had was, like I mentioned, I majored in computer science, and even though my dad's a musician, he was also like a full-time networking engineer for about 30-something years. So I grew up just knowing that, okay, I have music as a backup plan, but overall, I have to have a corporate job. I have to be able to have benefits. I have to have stability. Having a mortgage, having everything else, you have to have that paid every month. So it came a time in 2014 where I was kind of stuck. I won a big battle for McDonald's and won $10,000 with that.
Wait, hold.
10,000 is not that much to live off of, but just for one battle, I mean, I liked it.
That's real, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Wait, you did a battle?
A DJ battle, yeah. It was a DJ battle called the Flavor Battle. It was held in New York City, so I went to New York and won that battle. It was judged by DJ Clue, Spinderella, Judge Blaze. So
Okay.
So
Check you out.
that was the biggest moment of my career at that point, especially, and it was where I had a full-time job where I was working. They were doing me so dirty. I was the youngest person there with no kids, so it was like, okay, we give you the worst shift. You got to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. As a DJ, that killed everything. So it killed your personal life too. I mean, that's holidays too. I remember Super Bowls, Christmas. I'm at work till 9 p.m. So it was just a hard decision. Do I stay working this job, or do I just quit and try to become a DJ? So after a lot of consideration, I quit, and I was not ready to at that time, honestly. So 6 months later, I'm like, hey, I need some more money. I need some more income. So I went back to Indeed.com. I went back to Monster.com. It was like, let me find, some more IT work until I'm ready. So 3 years after that, I was ready. I quit about 2 years ago, and it's been good since then. So
Yeah.
that was the first main obstacle. So parallel with that, basically being a DJ in a big city like LA, even being from here, it's like it's not really a huge advantage because it's still kind of two sides. It's the LA crowd, it's the Hollywood kind of transplant crowd, and it's so many different segments of DJ crowds here. And overall, gaining respect as a DJ is hard in LA because it's like, even if you think about New York, there's like 20 DJs who everybody knows. Y'all know Kid Capri, Funk Flex,
Right.
LA, who can name one DJ that everybody knows? There's nobody like that. So for me, it was where I'm like, how do I even attain to become that type of DJ that everybody in every crowd knows? Because you might be the biggest one in Hollywood, but then the hood doesn't know you.
Right.
When you're big in the hood, Hollywood is like, he a hood, random college DJ or something. So it was about finding that balance and figuring out how to hit every market. So
Right.
the obstacle overall with that was just about figuring out how do I get each crowd, how do I do enough of this crowd, but not too much to where I'm pigeonholed and to where I'm basically like typecast. The same way an actor is typecast. The same way if you see Alfonso Ribeiro, he's crawling to you forever. So the same way it is with DJs. If they know you as being even the Hollywood DJ, that sounds good, but Hollywood DJs have a 2 or 3 lifespan, then they fall off. So it's just about finding that balance and figuring out how to catapult myself to that level. So I think I achieved that, I would say, within the last 3 years, and even then it's an ongoing process. So you can't say I made it and I'm good. Nah, it's 20 DJs right behind you trying to take your spot. So
Right.
it's about being cool with them and not being, insecure. I help them out, but at the same time, I have to make sure I'm focused on myself and I can maintain that level. So.
There you go. Love it. And Drew?
Yeah, so, because I also realized I didn't even say what I do, but I'll get to that in the story. But so, probably my biggest obstacle has been like the corporate politics mixed with, like someone was saying on the last panel, yourself. And my thing has always been, not being able to ride the wave and just kind of, stay through the ebbs and flows. And to go back to when I started, after working at the label for 1.5 years and was finally given like a project to come through on, that project sold about 4 million in singles. And so I'm like, all right, cool, I'm here now. And it was like, nah, just keep doing what you're doing. And it's like,